Let's check. Am I audible? Audible. Yes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this program, this webinar on improving learning skills, goal settings, and time management during pandemic. I hope it's all set. Let me start with a brief introduction to the event and also take the privilege of introducing the guest for this morning's program. I'm Matthew KG, Principal, Excel Public School, and I'll be the host for this webinar this morning. New normal is a cliched expression. We often hear about everybody talking about the new normal, all the more in the field of education with online learning becoming a new order. We come across students, parents, teachers on a daily basis and listen to their concerns and worries. We understand that people are facing different issues. You know, the students and parents especially trying their best to beat the stress caused by the online classes. When you speak about the parents and the parents' issues, of course, again, the concerns or the stress factor for each parent varies. We have parents who are working, they have their own set of concerns. We have parents with more than one child, they have their own issues there. Single parents have their concerns. There are also households with poor network or no network, they are worried. There are parents who are not technically very sound, they are a little concerned. And there are also parents worrying about unsupervised access to digital world to children of various age groups. Parents often worry about the health hazards caused by the long screen time for the children. Again, there's no rule as to how long can children be exposed to the screen. That is a different issue. There are parents who worry that children are missing the routine which they used to follow when they used to regularly go to school. There is a tendency among the children, or children are tempted to procrastinate the works assigned to them. There are also instances of children due to stress start exhibiting certain behavioral changes. Parents talk about excessive arguments and refusal and opposition, defiance and withdrawal at home. So that is another set of concerns and problems that the parents are facing these days. And when you talk about the students and their concerns, a large number of students are yet to get the hang of the online classes. There are also a large number of students for whom online is not the preferred way of learning. So they are struggling a bit. Children are confined to homes and they miss their school, they miss their friend, miss their opportunities for social connections. And we all agree that one of the most important reasons why children love to come to school is that, meeting their friends and interacting and having a good time along with their friends in school. Probably learning is secondary, I would say. There are also children with a poor attention span, and there are children who may be a little distracted if not supervised. Children feel bored, feel disengaged, feel disinterested. There are also situations where children feel that they are not able to rise to the expectations of the parents or the teachers in an online learning method. So there are various issues, various concerns that we often hear. Teachers, of course, they have a different set of woes of their own. Anyway, we are not going to take up that in this session. But we all agree at the end of the day, the root cause for everybody's concern is the quality of time and the quality of engagement of the children, both online and offline, and the effectiveness of the time that the children spend, which is definitely a very, very well-founded cause for concern. And today, we will listen to somebody who can speak to us with conviction, with authority, with confidence on these issues, somebody who comes across parents and students and various stakeholders of education sharing their concerns and problems, etc. I take this opportunity to welcome Professor Dr. Ravish BN. He's professor and head of the Department of Psychiatry, Mysore Medical College and Research Institute. Also the ex-director of the Harvard Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. Let me also take this opportunity to briefly introduce Dr. Ravish. Completed his MBBS from the Kasturba Medical College, Mangalore, and did his MD in psychiatry from Kasturba Medical College, Manipal. He also has a host of other degrees and areas of research to his credit. He has a postgraduate diploma in medical law and ethics, and then he has a postgraduate diploma in human rights, forensic and legal psychology, a postgraduate diploma in medical legal system, a postgraduate diploma in medical law and ethics, and he also has an MBA in hospital administration. In addition to that, he has done his LLB and LLM and holds a PhD from the VU University, Amsterdam, Netherlands. A person who is very familiar to the Mysore population, somebody who is very actively involved in various areas of social life, somebody who we are familiar seeing him on the television, reading him in the newspaper through his columns, also listen to him on the All India Radio on various occasions. Dr. Ravish is also the only qualified forensic and legal psychiatrist in India, and he's also the first Asian member to European Violence in Psychiatry Research Group. A person of great experience, exposure, expertise in various areas, especially the topic that we have taken up for deliberation this morning. With this brief introduction, Dr. Ravish, it's a privilege for Excel Public School and for me personally to host you this morning and extend a very, very hearty welcome to you to this webinar, mainly meant to address those concerns and the areas of concern that I briefly shared. And I know that you are in a better position to share your own experience in a lot more issues that probably you have come across. A hearty welcome to you. Once again, I welcome all the people who have joined us on this webinar. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to post your questions in the chat box in the YouTube. We will have a presentation and interaction for about 30 to 45 minutes where Dr. Ravish will be addressing us. And following that, we will also have a 15 minutes time to attend to some of these questions that come through YouTube or through some other sources that I get it. Over to you, sir. Over to you.
A very good morning to all of you. I thank Professor Matthew and his staff members for giving me this opportunity. It's a kind of coming back to EPS once again. I've been involved with a lot of activities. I'm just trying to start the slideshow. Okay. So during this pandemic, I'm sure every one of us are going through some or the other kind of stress. And during this period, instead of wasting time, it's good to make use of it and learn, okay, build a good future. In this regard, at the outset, I once again thank Excel Public School for giving me this opportunity. I want to begin with this disclaimer that true words are not always pretty and pretty words are not always true. What I mean to say, during my presentation, if I tend to use a little bit stronger words or what is called as harsh words, don't get offended. Only an intention to communicate well. So a word of caution, because one has to be transparent when we give a scientific presentation. So the conflict of interest is, I have my kid studying in Excel Public School. So like many of you, many of the parents, I'm also one among you. However, I've been called today by the institution, on behalf of the institution, to help the children. So what I tend to maintain is the utmost professionalism all through this presentation. The Ganesha festival is very near, and I'm sure many of the kids must be praying Ganesha that please reopen the schools, because ma'ams are better than moms. They must have been fed up listening to the orders, suggestions, guidance, whatnot from the parents. Carl Menninger, a neuroscientist, has said, what is done to the children, they will do to the society. So that's very much key factor. What is the objective of me coming and delivering this scientific lecture? In this technologically driven society, children are socially connected, they are practically alone, mentally disturbed. Okay, this is a normal human of this generation. I have not straight away gone to the topic because there is always a way in which one need to prepare a platform. Quite often I see parents telling their children abruptly. That's not the way the children will like to receive the communication. That's the reason you have to build a antecedent before an event. So please understand this. Why there has been so much stress? When there was no lockdown, people were stressed, they were on a run. Now when the lockdown, when isolation, quarantine, okay, all these stuff is happening, still there is a lot of stress. It's because we focus too much on improving our lifestyle rather than our life. See, our life is just like any other biological organism which needs to synchronize with the nature. With this brief introduction, let me come to the main objective. Okay, what today's education need to focus. If you see, okay, family and society should try to inculcate the values, and education, okay, also will support that, and also education will metamorphosize or reform the child to improve the values. Now, when I say values, it's not the monetary values, it's the values of life values, or what is called as the moral values or the eternal values. And values will always remain irrespective of the civilization, irrespective of the time, irrespective of the nation. So what happens by increasing the value? An enlightened society, ethical group, and a sensitive individual, thereby a social cohesion. Okay, today we all know because of the corporatization, okay, everyone are becoming more selfish. So our learning path is entirely taken a different shift. Okay, we need to live in harmony and peace with others and with the nature. Please understand this. And where does this all start? It starts from education. And where does education start? Right from the family and right from the society. It's not just a formal education that we are looking at. Please don't think that I'm giving you a moral lecture, because this objective, okay, once we have that objective, then the learning objectives becomes easier. Until unless we have a value-based education, we can't build the nation. We can't have a quality of life, okay, which we are suffering. Let me tell you, how much ever technological innovations, have we found a treatment for COVID-19 yet? No. But still there is, that is called behavioral vaccine. The way we handle the virus, okay, the personal hygiene and the social hygiene. So that's the reason our education should reflect a character, and then which should lead to an ideal humanity. See, we all get older, but we don't call it as, say, for example, a tree getting old. We say the tree is growing. In the same way, let us term ourselves that we are growing. So let us not consider this pandemic period, okay, as something very uneventful, okay, eventful in a undesirable way. Okay, so let us try and utilize how to improve this period. I know many of us, okay, are always looking for a comfort zone. But if you look at this slide, the comfort zone is depicted as red. That means being in your comfort, you may feel safe and control, but that's not the indication for your growth. You have to come out of this comfort zone. I'm sure most of the teachers like me, okay, I'm also teaching in a medical college, are not so comfortable with the online classes and then using these kind of technological facilities. In fact, students themselves will find it difficult. But it's inevitable that we have to go through this non-comfortable part. So when we come out of the comfort zone, we start feeling that fear. Okay. So we start finding excuses. Okay. We tend to be affected by others' opinion. Our confidences will go down. But once we pass on from the fear zone, that means persuasion, okay, persistence. Then we can deal with the challenges and problems. Then we start learning. Then we start looking for new skills and acquiring them. So then from the red zone, we come to the yellow zone. That means we are ready. Okay, we have extended our comfort zone. Then the green zone, where we can find a purpose. Okay, we can set goals, we can conquer our objectives. So our move should always be from left to right. Okay, if you look at the Hindu tradition, we always take a roundabout from left to right. Okay, so that's how we will begin our presentation. Still, I have not started how to improve your learning skills. So that much of preparation is quite essential. Okay, that much of sensitization before we start acquiring. So planning is something quite essential for learning anything. Okay, there are certain things which we wrongly learn. Okay, even though we have not scheduled the planning, but still, okay, the planning would have happened with unknowingly or unconsciously. Everything starts from a need. Any need is the beginning for any of our efforts. So needs will give rise to wants, which gives tension. That means to say, tension is quite essential, an optimal tension, which I'll be talking in the later slides. So that optimal tension will give rise to actions. Now, only actions will give results. Please understand this, only action. Because there are very good planners, but when it comes to execution, they fail. They don't have that consistency. So once you do some action, okay, it's a result. Okay, see, the current education system is driven mainly on the marks. So, see, people think that scoring high, okay, is an achievement. That's not true. Okay. So the process of starting with the need and then doing some action and then learning something, okay, whatever outcome it comes, gives a sense of satisfaction of having done something or having achieved something. Please understand this motivation cycle, that need, wants, and satisfaction. A person doing nothing, okay, you may appear happy. Okay, there is an ad which comes in the TV to Sprite Pizza. Okay, so instead of doing all these things, drink Sprite and be happy. But that doesn't give any satisfaction. Please understand, satisfaction is when we are doing our duty, what we are supposed to do. If we do that, then there is a meaning for our life. But what does our students do? Okay, they just slumber. Okay, they just sit on their books because they are more carried away with the gadgets, they are more carried away with the newer distractions. So what is important for learning or improving learning is be motivated, get motivated. And motivation is not something it's a one-time kind of effort. No, motivation is something which you have to keep doing every day. And life is a challenge as we start from the left side. Okay. Now, why it is a challenge? Because there are many choices. Okay, you can study, or you can watch some movie, you can do some video game, you can chat with your friends over the net. Okay, so there are many choices. So how to choose the best one is by collaborating. Collaborating with whom? Collaborating with the right people, collaborating with your teachers, collaborating with your siblings, I mean the elder siblings, collaborating with your parents, okay, collaborating with your seniors within the school. So if I have to tell about you, I will ask, show me your friends. That means to say, with whom you move around, that's the way you collaborate. So if you collaborate with the constructive people, you will have a constructive meaning to your actions. Now, when you have a good, constructed, meaningful action, definitely the consequences will be good. It doesn't matter, even if the consequences go out, you can always get back to the control, and that's how the learning spiral goes on. So please remember this, for any learning, okay, motivation is the key. Along with the motivation, concentration, okay. Please understand this curve, because many students say after some time they forget. They would have understood, they would have learnt well, but over a period of time, what is said, memory decaying. So by the end of 7 days, by the end of 1 week, whatever you have learnt, okay, it tends to decay, start decreasing. So if you see that subject after 2 weeks, definitely it appears as though it's a new subject. So what you need to do then? You need to start revising. Please understand this. That's the reason quite often we, as students, we have always heard that study whatever the classes that have been done on that day. Do your work on the same day. These are the common things which the teacher keeps reminding. Why? Because it takes at least 3 revisions, okay, on first, third, and 10th day. Okay, if you have to have a long-lasting memory only for a month. Now, after 1 month, by the end of 1 month, you should have done the 4th review, and by a trimester, okay, 3 months, if you had done the 5th review, then it remains in your memory for the long term. Please understand this. So you would have heard, but you want to study just before the exams, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so please remember, you have to put in efforts, you have to work hard. There is no shortcut. Okay, even an average student can fare well if he repeatedly tries to learn, okay, over specific spacing, okay, of the subjects. How does memory function? Okay, memory is just the way your computer tends to use, but for human memory, there will always be some kind of a sensory input, okay, either auditory, okay, visual, gustatory, okay, olfactory, and then tactile, all 5 senses. So certain things, okay, when you smell, you have that memory. So likewise, there are, okay, different ways of sensory inputs. As I told you, one, you need to be motivated. Second thing is attention and concentration. Okay, if both are there, then it stays for a while. Okay, anything which I showed you in the forgetful curve, okay, as the days goes on, it starts decaying. That means to say, the short-term memory starts decaying. What you need to do? You have to rehearse. How many times you have to rehearse? I've been repeating now, okay. So within 1 day first, 3rd day, okay, 10th day, first month, and then 90 days. So if you do like that, if you rehearse like that, okay, it encodes into long-term memory, which can be retrieved during your exam time. Then only the output comes. Please understand, it's a very basic outline of how the memory functions. To just give you an example, the teacher has got an attendance book, register, okay. So after it has been registered, it will be kept in certain place, known place. That is called retention, which is short-term memory. Okay. Until unless it is retained, you can't retrieve it. So this is how the memory functions. And some things we wouldn't appreciate. It would have happened so automatically. So once we split and understand, we will be able to, understand the intricacies and nonsense. And then that way you can help yourself to make the tougher subject also easier. See, like physical defense, when something comes to hit us, we always either tuck down or try to avoid. Likewise, there are psychological defenses. And one of the primitive first defense mechanism is denial. Okay, if something is said, no, I won't do it. Okay, that's a normal response. So, I mean, the parents need not get worried about that. That's the first response. Okay, see, for example, a government tries to frame a policy, definitely the response will be something very, very few people will have the mature defenses, psychological defenses, they will understand and accept. So the first response, okay, of a student will be, I won't do it. Now, that is where the efforts of the guide or guardian or teacher who need to persevere, okay. So then he will, I mean, the student will say, I can't do it. Then when you start explaining the objectives, okay, so what are the benefits, okay, then, okay, they will change up their mind and say, okay, I want to do it. Then they'll have this question, how to do it, how to go about it. So that's how they start climbing step by step. Please understand that in the learning life cycle, there are no elevators, there are no lifts that will take you directly to the 12th floor. Okay, you have to go step by step in order to learn. And invariably, the first step will be the most difficult part. Okay, all these things I'm not telling from some general textbooks. These are all from the research, mental health or psychological, okay, educational psychology books. Please understand that it's always the first step that is the hardest. That's what. So to break that, I won't do it, to break that defense, it takes a lot of time. Probably you can understand with this slide better. See here, the learning curve. So that initial slow learning, okay, it's an S-shaped curve, okay. It takes quite a long time for the initial, okay, understanding of the subject. Then once you reach a minimum threshold, then it will shoot up, okay. Suddenly there is a fast learning. So usually what happens is, children or students would have got exposed to the subject, but nearing the exam, they would be trying to learn fast. Okay, so they think that learning nearer to the exam, it's fast learning. No, okay, they would have unknowingly, okay, initiated the slow learning, which they wouldn't have appreciated. So, but at the or nearing the exams, they would learn it fast. Now, after the exams, once you have learned the subject to expertise, okay, there is a gradual incremental, okay, increase, okay. So the rate of learning becomes slow. Once you have learned, okay, it's easy to score up to 60%. Okay, then between 60 to 80, little bit difficult. 80 to 90, some more difficulty. 90 and above, okay, much more difficulty. That's how, okay, the learning goes on. Okay, just the way how you get the question paper. So it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It only matters how many times you get up again. Okay, that is what is lacking in the current student fraternity. Okay, they easily get demotivated. Okay, their threshold is quite low. Their resilience power is quite less, meaning bouncing back. Okay, so because they have been pampered. I mean, they have been pampered not just by the parents, they have been pampered by the technology. They don't have to struggle to get information. We are drowned in the information now. Okay, there is information explosion, but unfortunately, we are lacking the wisdom. In this information, still we have to look for the wisdom. Many a times, what does the student feel stressed about is, an event is quite common. That means an exam, okay, or a test, okay, or an internal assessment. So event plus response gives you the outcome. But what does the student think all the time? Only about the outcome. Event, they don't have control. Event is common to everybody. So what one should focus is on the response. So when you prepare for any subject, your focus should be what or how I can answer the questions, not about how much marks I'll be getting, how much I am supposed to get. Okay, if you think about the outcome, definitely you will feel stressed out. This is a famous quote from Confucius, okay, but Confucius is used for many things. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and understand. That's why do it and learn. Please understand, do it and learn. Don't just sit and try to read. Write it, understand, okay, draw it, discuss it, okay. In the learning pyramid, I'll be telling you, okay, this is the learning pyramid. So average retention rate after one day, okay, if you just listen to the lecture, it's only 5%. If you listen to the lecture and then read, okay, it adds up, okay, 10%, audiovisual 20%, demonstration, like you give a seminar, okay, 30%, having a discussion group, okay, so you will understand from different perspective. That's better way of learning, 50%. Practice by doing, okay, 75%. If you have to teach somebody, okay, that is the best way. The best way to learn is to teach. See, during our post-graduation, okay, we had to teach the undergraduate students. During my MD, I had to teach the MBBS. It was part of our university curriculum. I don't know, okay, nowadays it's not been followed properly, but ideally, it's a good thing that a senior class student tries to once in a while teach the lower class student. So just by lecture, okay, please don't get carried away how much of a good lecture, you have to do it, okay, in order to learn. A student can never have a stress-free life, okay. Neither to that extent, if we generalize to the lifestyle, anybody can never have a stress-free life. There has to be some amount of optimal stress. Otherwise, if you see, the performance will go down. If you are inactive, if you are laid back, if your stress level is minimum, your performance is low. In the similar way, if your stress level is more high towards the anxiety or irritability, anger, okay, that also will reduce your performance. There has to be an optimum stress, which is yellow. You can't overload or stretch too much, then it becomes exhaustion. That means to say, in a day, ideally, 8 hours is the best optimal level of reading. Okay. If you extend more than that, definitely, okay, meaning nearing the exam, some people tend to read 10 hours, 12 hours, which is definitely becoming exhaustion. Your performance will definitely fall down. So understand this graph. Now, how to prepare for exams? Okay, I have a mnemonic called PQRST method, planning, which I kept on telling you right from the beginning of my presentation. Plan your time. That's the reason I have joined goal setting and time management also with this learning, improving the learning skills. So divide your time in such a way that, okay, you will be able to put a question, why am I reading this? Okay, In fact, in the beginning of every chapter, there will be some learning objectives. Okay, those are the questions to start. And then at the end of the chapter, there will be questions. That means that much you should know from that particular chapter. So please focus. I mean, this is a must know kind of a situation. That means minimum that much of knowledge is quite essential. So put a question, why I am reading this chapter, where I can implement it, okay? So correlate that, corroborate that with the day-to-day life event. Then you can remember, okay? Comparative learning, not comparison with the other person, other student, okay? Because every child is unique and every child is gifted in their own way. R means, as I told you, rehearse, repeat, revise. It's not by hearting. It's a question of missed out part of it being again understood, and then you try to give a meaningful connection to the subject. And after you read every page, okay, close your eyes, summarize. What is it that I have learned? Okay. So likewise, at the end of every chapter, there will be summary. So sum it up, okay. Even while you are answering the question in the exam, okay, write a brief summary, okay, that conveys to the examiner that how much understanding you have over this subject. And test yourself, keep testing. That's how you understand where you stand. Okay, so this is a very simple way of understanding how to learn and how to prepare. See, you need to study smart, not only studying hard. Okay, please understand what is in the syllabus and how much you need to prepare for that. Organize the material that is needed to study for a duration of 40 minutes. Okay, after 40 minutes, take a break for maybe 2 to 5 minutes. See, it shouldn't be like between the breaks you read. Okay, between the reading you take a break. Understand this. Why this? Because we learn best at the start and end of every study session. Even in a movie, okay, the beginning and the end you understand well. Okay, in between intricacies you tend to forget. Maybe those who are very keen, okay. So when you can remember what comes in the movies and what comes in some of the serials, you can definitely have that kind of a motivation and interest in studying as well. Remember that the best friends for a students are who, what, when, where, why, and how. These are the 6 best students. Now, if you start with this, that means you would have crossed 50% of the ladder, okay, 50% of the stairs, which I had shown you, how you would have claimed in achieving the success. And once you pass out the exam, that's not the end of the story, okay, a new challenge will start. When there is a new challenge, again there are choices, again there is collaboration, there is requirement of collaboration, then constructing the meaning, consequences, and then control. See, by doing these kind of classes, I remember it. It's not by heart, but a meaningful way of constructing it. So remember, okay, what to learn, from whom to take this guidance, when to learn, where to learn, because some students will study up to 2 o'clock in the night. That's not the way. Okay, so when to learn? You need to learn during the daytime. You need to learn in a similar way where the exams will be conducted. Please understand. You might study well, okay, in the night, but the exams will always be conducted in the daytime. So understand, okay, when to learn, okay, where to learn. You need to understand. I mean, where to learn. You can't sit or lie down, okay, anywhere and then start learning. There has to be particular platform, okay, I mean study platform, okay. There has to be particular way of reading, okay. And always whenever do any kind of activity, why you are doing it, okay. So without knowing the purpose, okay, it's just waste of time, okay. And how to do it? Okay, if you know the method, it's quite easier. Now, before exams, I hope you're all with me, okay, not getting bored. Now, before exam, eat well and be well rested. Do not watch TV or play computer games before going to bed prior to the exam. Please understand this. Because how much ever these mobile companies or the TV manufacturers say the radiations are protected, okay, it's still your eyes, okay, are very, very sensitive for the radiation. And that will stimulate certain regions of the brain which are supposed to be sleeping or resting, okay, when you go to bed. So there is a whole lot of debate how much a child needs to see the TV or the screening time. See, it depends on the age of the child, number one. Second thing, the requirement of the child also. See, when you are now facing online classes, so if it is higher primary school, at least 3 hours they need to attend the online classes. Now after that, okay, please avoid all sorts of exposure to the screen. Honestly, because minimize as much as possible, okay? And I have seen many students, okay, while their parents are driving, okay, sitting behind and then still cramming up. Or before entering the exam hall, still they want to revise. Such kind of cramming doesn't help. It will confuse you more when you have to answer. So make sure that you have enough sleep and then you have read, and then when you sit in the exam, you can constructively, okay, write, okay, not necessarily in the same words, but something which communicates that you have understood the subject. Now, time management. Until now, I was mentioning about learning skills, how to improve it. Now, time management is basically a process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between specific activities. In fact, many people doesn't accept that it is management, because even if you don't do anything, time passes away. You can only manage what you have, okay? So let us not get into such kind of debates. What is important is good time management enables you to work smarter. That's what I've been telling you, okay? Not just harder. Okay, you sit for hours together in front of the books, but the amount of quality studying is very poor. Such things shouldn't happen. So even when the time is, okay, less and then pressures are high, still you should be able to prioritize and manage your time well. If you fail to manage your time, that will definitely damage your effectiveness. Okay, efficiency is how well you fare by using minimal or optimal time. Okay, and also it causes stress. Stress is a common terminology, but stress can lead to a lot of psychological problems and then psychological disorders. What are the elements of time management? You need to have a proper, clear vision. Okay, that's what. Why should I be doing this? How should I be doing this? When? Okay, what? Okay, all those vision. Okay, the 6 best friends. Don't forget about that. Now, people have a tendency to confuse, okay, change and improvement. See, change is inevitable, but the question is it productive change? There are a lot of changes happening because of COVID. The only thing is, we have been shown what we are, okay? No amount of technology could save us. So the improvement is, okay, the nature has healed itself. The ozone, the whole of ozone has covered up. Okay, so let us understand it has to be changed for the good. Okay, then only it becomes an improvement. Always have priority. What should come first? That should come first. As students, your primary job is to understand the subject and then fare well. Okay, I'm not telling you to aim at scoring 100%, 100 out of 100. That's a different total arena. Okay, so focus on the value. Okay, your primary value. You have a reputation. Start that reputation right from your childhood days. Set boundaries. Okay, you can't achieve everything and anything. Okay, so focus, prioritize, have values, set boundaries. If you are struggling to keep up to that, there are good distractions. See, the best thing is to read books. The habit of reading is vanishing. Okay, reading on the screens is definitely not useful. Okay, whatever technology, whatever the people may advise. Okay, see, I have seen my teachers, okay, smelling the book, okay, that could motivate them. Okay, so please understand, inculcate some of the good distractions, okay. Just having a chat. I'm not telling about argument. There's a difference between having a chat, having a discussion, having an argument, okay. So having a chat and then, okay, feeling relaxed is quite essential. Purge out the waste, okay, stay away from the bad distractions. Okay, it's very essential to succeed. These kind of challenges, these kind of hurdles do come, okay, you need to get out of it. Now this is a wonderful matrix. Something which are important and urgent, you should do now. So that's how you prioritize. Something which is important but not urgent, you can either delegate or you can do it later. Not important but, not important and urgent, you can delegate, okay? And not important and not urgent, you can ignore. So you can see it more specifically like this. It's not identical, it's been twisted. So important and urgent, emergencies, plussing clients, deadlines, you have to do it. So not urgent, you can schedule. Not important and urgent, you can delegate. And something which is not important and not urgent, you can delete. Please understand, you need to focus. Focus on need to know subjects. It's okay if you have learned need to know, you can go to nice to know, but don't get into the World Wide Web and then look upon everything. Then you will become nuts to know. Okay. Now goal setting. Okay. Everyone wants to be smart. So when you set goals, you need to be specific. If you say you can always have primary goal, okay, single primary goal. You can't have multiple goals, isn't it? There can be only one goal post. There can't be many like that. But only thing is how much range, it depends on the individual. Okay, so be specific, and any change which I was mentioning should be measurable towards the positive growth. Then it becomes an improvement. Whenever you set a goal, it should be attainable. Okay, so you have only 15 days of time and you want to score 90%. Okay, how is it possible? It's totally, okay, non-attainable. So, and whatever goal you set, it should be relevant. When you are a student, do things which are relevant for the studentship. And everything should have a time limit. Okay, you can't go on doing something. So then you have to change your strategy. So set your goal, be smart. But nowadays, people want to become smarter. Okay, SMARTER. Okay, there is an addition of E and R. So E means ethics. Okay, whatever goal you set, it should be ethical enough. And R means it should be reasonable. Okay, do something, okay, reasonable enough for your body, reasonable enough to the society, reasonable enough to your parents and school, in fact. These are some of the tips both for parents and children, okay, because it's always better if the dependency of the child is minimized. Okay, only those children who need support, I'm telling you support, not substitute. Please don't substitute yourself to what the child needs to do. Okay, then only the self-reliance comes. Teach your child self-discipline. Okay, don't always read only when the parent is sitting next to you, or some kind of policing needs to be done in order to make you sit and study. Let your child take the initiative. Okay, most of the time, by the time the child opens the mouth, the parent or somebody will be trying to substitute. Please don't substitute. Time and again, I am reminding you this. Give your child an opportunity to choose for themselves. That gives them more responsibility, that gives them experience, okay, for them to fare well or take up the challenges in future. Do not treat your child like they are little all the time. Okay, let them have their own opportunities. Let them have their range of doing some mistakes. Okay, and teach them how to self-control. Not all the time you setting the limits or you setting the objectives. Okay, let the child themselves take control of what they are up to and what they want to be. And another thing is assertion. So how to handle peer pressure is something very, very important. So you are pressed by your friend to attend a kind of a chat over the internet or something. See, when you are supposed to do something quite important, some kind of an assignment, you be assertive enough to say no. Okay, because no is not a word, it's a sentence. It conveys a lot of things. Okay, it also gives an identity that you can decide on your own. Okay, so please make your own opinion and let child make mistakes. That's the age when they can really do mistakes and correct themselves. But the mistake can't be too big enough to disturb either of you. Finally, the stress management. Always eat sensibly. Okay. Now, since most of the restaurants are locked down, homemade food, they are always healthier and better. Assert yourself. That's what I was telling you. Okay. When you have to say no, have the courage to say no. Okay. Don't get yielded to the peer pressure. Exercise regularly. Okay. This is very, very essential. Our body needs a minimum amount of exercise. Not only that, try to relax every day. Okay, relaxation is not just lying down on the bed or sleeping during the daytime. Sleep has got an entirely different function. Okay, sleep is called restorative function. It has to be slept only when the sun goes down. Start taking responsibility. Until unless you and parents also need to think that they need to give responsibilities. Okay, not just child asking for responsibility. Reduce the causes of stress. Distractions, bad distractions are the cause for stress. Examine your values. Okay, the values which I initially explained to you, and live by them. Set realistic goals and expectations. Okay, and whatever it is, accept the results what it comes. Okay, don't have high expectations or what is meant as unrealistic expectations. See, this picture which came in the social media really caught my mind. Discipline without education is better than education without discipline. So discipline and patience are like two eyes for a student. In fact, it's for anybody, any successful person. If you look at their life history, they would be showing a lot of patience and then a lot of discipline in their work. And I hope I could convey enough message for you to improve your learning skills, set your goals, and then manage your time. Also, manage your stress. Okay. So best wishes, and I'll be very happy to take up the question. Okay. I hope I have within 45 minutes I have completed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravish, for that wonderful, engaging, enlightening, and highly informative session. I'm sure the students, parents, and teachers who are listening to you would have definitely got a lot of tips. It's not just something for this pandemic situation. These are tips, guidelines that people can use at any point in time. And I'm very happy that you touched upon most of the areas that the students and parents were expecting you to share this morning. I've also been checking the chat box, and I came across some questions. I thought I'll pick up a few questions. Probably if you could spend a little more time on those areas where some of the participants have raised some questions. Something very, very interesting, I personally felt your observation of the behavioral vaccine as the remedy for the current situation. Something very, very striking. With all the developments in the field of science and technology, we've not been able to find out a vaccine for the current pandemic situation. I really like the way you spoke about the behavioral vaccines. And also, I think the last image that you showed, where the quotation that discipline without education is better than education without discipline. I think there is a lot of things to take home from the 45 minutes that we listened to you. Some of the questions, one question that how to break the I can't attitude in students. I don't think it's just about students. Every human being, as is the first response, as you rightly mentioned, is I can't. So the question that has been raised is how to break that I can't attitude. Any tips for that, sir?
Yeah. See, that's the main thing. Basically, motivation. Okay. See, we all are driven by what is called as philosophy of life. Okay. Now, I have displayed this on my chest. Whenever I'm challenged with any kind of adversity, I always look at something which motivates me. Okay, I work for a government. The government setting always has some amount of deficiency. I'm giving you something which is a live example, because so that people get a proper, truthful message. Now, whenever there are certain adversities, deficiencies, now the normal tendency is, why should I do? I can't do it. Why should I break my head? I can just take my salary and be happy. Okay. Now the question is, when you are motivated, when you are focused that I need to do this to bring a change, that is the time there will be some kind of that inner strength. I'm telling you, definitely you will find that inner strength. When you have self-belief, self-control, self-efficiency, okay, you would definitely get that motivation. See, even to just pick up your pen and write, you need motivation. So somebody who is well motivated will never say, I can't. Okay, motivation is the key to say, I can. Now, despite of all the works, okay, I accepted, okay, I came here. I'm just giving all the live examples so that people shouldn't think that imaginary or something very textbook kind of description. Okay, so I definitely wanted to build the society. And how can I reach that? Not just sitting in the hospital, taking the opportunities like this and extending it to the society. Okay, so a well-motivated person will always say, I can. And at this juncture, I want to remember the words of our Prime Minister, Atmanirbhar. Okay, what is Atmanirbhar? I don't know how many students would have gone back and learned that word. Atmanirbhar means self-dependent, self-sufficient, and self-resilient. If somebody is like that, they will definitely take up all the challenges. I'm sure they will.
Thank you, sir. That was very well put. I think there was one question that was repeatedly raised, was how to engage children in multitasking, and whether engaging children in multitasking is good or bad. What's your point on that?
For a student, multitasking is very bad. Okay. See, they are in still the formative age. When the formative age is happening, okay, they are unable to differentiate what is good and what is necessary, okay, what is nice to do, okay. So multitasking is definitely not good at least until they come up to the undergraduate level. Okay. Even at the undergraduate level, okay, they can just do, when we say multi, it is more than 3. Okay. So probably they can do some of the domestic activities which need not be termed as multitasking. But until they finish their graduation, okay, as a psychiatrist, I suggest that multitasking is not advisable to the students.
Thank you. That's again, I think those who raised the question would have definitely got a very, very sensible answer from your side. Another concern that has been raised most likely by a parent, she has asked a question about the depression among the children, preferably the depression among the teenagers. How do parents handle this depression in the children? Are the parents the cause for this depression, or can parents be an effective solution to this particular state of mind that this child is going through?
See, one need to understand depression is an emotional disorder. It's a mood disorder. So when does the mood disorder happen? When there is no proper way for ventilation of the mood, emotions. See, the best way is to allow the child to ventilate the emotions. If the emotions are suppressed, if the emotions are kept inside, it will start burning. Okay. Man has been given the best faculty, okay, of words, expressing, communicating through words. So allow child to share their emotions. Okay, if the child has not learned that, please make the child sufficient enough to ask for their needs. Okay, that is one of the primary steps to control depression, number one. Second thing is, as I initially told, they are socially connected but physically alone. Loneliness is one of the precursor factor for depression. So please encourage the child to interact with their age group. If not, at least with, because nowadays we see single child families. So if not, at least you have certain period where they have been taken to the relative's house or your friends who has kids, okay? So allow them to interact, okay? And third thing, despite of all these things, if they feel, okay, sad, please don't cut off, okay? Don't try to snub, okay? I have given you all sorts of comforts. Why should you be feeling depressed? Okay, or why should you be feeling sad? Okay, please go beyond. Okay, ask what is the reason. Okay, so the child will definitely in his innocence will communicate. And still if you feel there is a drastic change in the mood and behavior, please take a professional help. And as I was telling, don't put or don't convey your expectations on the child. Okay, most of the time what happens is child will be scared to tell his honest feelings with the parents because of their expectations. So please be honest, okay? Allow the child to ventilate, allow the child to play and engage with the group activities, okay? And in spite of that, nowadays, okay, easy frustration, okay? So please help the child to develop self-resilience, okay? And more importantly, sleep, okay? If the child doesn't sleep enough, that also will cause, depression. Sleep and then eating sensibly, eating the right things, okay? We usually say fruit, okay, milk. I mean, in the pyramid, you can always go and see the food pyramid. Everything is quite important.
Okay, thank you for that. And this is something, a very, very a common concern, I think a concern for most of the parents. In spite of the repeated efforts from the parents, the children stay addicted to gadgets. Even if the parents make the best of their efforts to keep the child meaningfully engaged, the child is still, obsessed with the gadgets. The question raised is there a way, of course, you have made a mention about positive distractors and how to keep the child engaged in a positive manner. Is there something that the parents can do to encourage children to stay away from this digital world? You have also mentioned that since the children attend about 3 hours of online classes, it's advisable to keep them away from any sort of a screen, any sort of a digital device for the rest of the day. But how do the parents handle it, and how do they help the children to come out of it?
See, this is a very, very pertinent question for the current situation. First of all, we should start from ourselves. As elders, how much time we are giving for the screen? Okay, because we are the first role models to our children. Okay, so if we can cut down the screen time, definitely we get that authority to say that to our children, number one. Second thing is, sit with the child and then develop a schedule that how many hours the gadget will be given. See, there can't be a zero gadget period, because the child has to get abreast with the current technology. He can't be something like in a deep jungle, okay? But how much time is allowed, okay, has to be determined from both the sides, okay? And it should be realistic enough. See, when they have 3 hours of online classes, you can't say only 90 minutes I will give. But 3 hours is definitely too much. After that, okay, maybe during the weekdays, you need to tell them that no more screen hours. Now the question is, when you break that rule, definitely the child will take it as an opportunity to silently break the rule. Most of the time, what the parents do is, see, I didn't enjoy my childhood the way, okay, I was supposed to, or the way I dreamt. So let my child have all the comforts. Please don't have these kind of mindset. You're not doing a big favor by getting them expensive gadgets. And never say that you pass SSLC, then I will get you an iPhone. Don't do that. The child has to earn his pleasures. Please understand this. The child has to earn his pleasures the way you have earned your pleasures. Okay. So you can't get expensive gadgets. You have to make it a minimum requirement. Okay. And when it is a rule, it's a rule for everybody in the family. Okay, so you can't get good gadget or a high-end gadget to one child and then not to the other child. So please have that equity. I'm not telling equality. There is a difference between equity and equality. Equity, which includes yourself. And when it is no screen time, that means to say you also need to switch off the TV. Okay, so this kind of disciplining has to strictly happen. And see, by going by the media, particularly the visual media, it's not at all trying to help in any way the health, I mean the mental and social health of the society. What is the point in doing all those things? Always discuss with your child the risk and benefits of using these kind of gadgets. Okay, so please be part of it. And when you say restricting the gadget time, it's for everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think that that makes a lot of sense to many of the parents who have been very, very anxiously waiting to listen to this pertinent issue. I'm sure the parents would have got some idea how to handle this. Another concern, you made a mention about the inability of the current generation to bounce back. The resilience is very, very low. A couple of people who are watching this have asked this question: how do we instill this quality in the children? How do we help them to bounce back? You also mentioned that they are over pampered. You also made a mention that they are all drowned in information, but there is no wisdom. So how do we help our children to bounce back? Because we also hear a lot about the increasing instances or incidents of suicide among our teenagers. Of course, depression as an issue that we've already discussed about it. But children give up very, very easily, and they do not have the courage to bounce back. So how do we help them to bounce back easily?
Yeah, again, these are all very relevant questions. See, the modern generation, the exposure to life events have been minimized because we are now going into a nuclear family kind of a system. And within nuclear family, in your introduction, you said, sir, that we are seeing some of the single parent children. So there is a pressure on the part of the parents also. Now, what I suggest is, see, even a primary school child is much equipped currently compared to what we were when we were in our, pre-university college. So that means to say the exposure to the information for the current generation is quite high compared to our generation. And the generation gap nowadays is happening every 5 years. So let the parent be well informed that the child should actively get involved with all the strengths and weaknesses of the family. See, you need to expose, you can't keep away the child, okay, stating that, oh, your job is only to study, do that. Rest of the things I will take care. No. See, that's the reason when this question of multitasking came, see, multitasking as far as academics is concerned, definitely not advisable. Multitasking as far as career is concerned, not advisable. But multitasking as far as academic, one aspect, but social responsibility, definitely yes. Emotional responsibility of the family, definitely yes. See, these kind of multiple exposures, okay, are quite essential for the child. Please involve the child in all the difficulties of the family and how the difficulties have been tackled or faced. That also needs to be discussed with the family. In fact, quite a number of times, I have seen parents have been brought to the treatment by the children. Okay, and children are not working. Children are just in their pre-university or doing their undergraduation. What I meant to say, your child has a strength, okay, which is much, much beyond what your imagination or what your understanding is. The only thing is, take them as your colleagues, okay, when they are grown up. Until unless they go through the emotions of failure, okay, what is called as behavioral vaccine, okay, is not just meant to handle the health, okay, it's there to handle the life events as well. Okay, what we call it as stress inoculation, stress vaccine. Expose them to a little bit of stress so that they develop immunity to handle the stress. Okay, so please give them some kind of tasks, or when they have the failure, that's why people call it as a dead end, because they think that that's the end and death is the final verdict. No, it's not an end, it's a bend. And life has got many choices. So please understand, it's quite difficult to give a very general kind of an answer for this, okay, because it has to be tailor-made, it has to be specifically dealt with. But to improve the resilience, to improve the frustration tolerance, you need to give them exposure.
Good. Thank you, sir. I mean, think we have overshot the time, but just a couple of questions more, if that's okay with you.
Yes, sir, I'm fine with that.
Okay. I mean, this is a very, very tricky question. What, according to you, is difficult decision, and what makes it difficult, and how do we handle that situation?
Sorry, I couldn't get that.
What, according to you, is a difficult decision? Because we made a mention a couple of times about decision making. So, what, according to you, is a difficult decision, and what makes it difficult, and what would be the outcome of such a decision? I know it's a quite a tricky question, but I thought I'll ask this.
It actually, in somewhat, it's a continuation for the previous question, because how to improve the resilience. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
See, if you are able to decide well, your resilience also will improve. Now, what is difficult for me may not be difficult for the other person. Let us understand this. See, and it varies with the gender as well. Okay, the mindset, the body constituency, the neural networks, how a girl child thinks and how a boy child thinks is entirely different. So, difficulty can be, see, let me tell you something. If a stone is thrown at you, okay, you can easily tuck down and escape. Suppose a small, very small stone gets into your shoe, don't you think it's a difficulty? So it is very difficult to generalize what is difficult and what is easy. Most of the time, what happens is, in our enthusiasm, certain difficulties would have gone like unimaginable way, easily. So let us not take it as what is difficulty, what is not difficulty. Let us take it as everything has got a amount of difficulty, but it is not categorical. It is not black and white. Okay. If the difficulty is not handled now, it can become a huge difficulty because of the snowballing effect. Please understand this. So whatever it is, whether it is a minor leakage or a big leakage, you need to address it, because everything would have started from a small, okay, flare of a fire, isn't it? So please understand, don't neglect anything. That's what I wanted to convey. And don't make a comparison. See, for somebody, difficult of getting 2 times food is quite a great decision. But for somebody, getting a Audi car or a BMW car is the most difficult thing. So let us not generalize it. Please take every aspect. So to tell you, one small mosquito bite can lead to a dengue. Okay, can lead to H1N1. So that doesn't mean you have to neglect. I mean, you have to be overcautious about all the mosquito bites. So please be sensible enough, reasonable enough to differentiate. Okay, the intensity of the problem. Ultimately, it boils down to what resources you have and what is the demand that you are facing. That will cause the difficulty. If your demands are much more than your resource, then it becomes a huge difficulty. Okay, so please don't neglect anything. Okay, try to sort it out at the beginning itself, so that you can move on to the next difficulties or next challenges in life.
Thank you so much, sir. I know it was a very, very subjective question, and this issue has to be viewed from a very, very personal perspective. I also find a couple of a number of queries with regard to the availability of this video. I mean, just for the information of the viewers, the program will be uploaded on the YouTube channel of Excel Public School. The entire video will be available before the end of the day. So the presentation of Dr. as well as the entire discussions will be made available. Doctor, one last question, because I see this question coming up again and again. This is regarding procrastination as a problem. The children keep tending to postpone things and all. I think that has become more during this lockdown period, because there is no sense of urgency for the children. Deadlines are not there much. So how do we help them to come out of this procrastination?
Yeah. This is every house difficulty and every individual's difficulty. In fact, not just the children, I think most of the elders also tend to procrastinate. See, again, it all depends on our self-disciplining and how much committed we are with the work. And third thing is motivation. See, that's what I keep repeatedly telling you. Okay, that motivation is the real spirit. Okay, see, when our needs are quite pressing, we can't procrastinate. So make your need such a strong force that you are pulled by it. Okay. So that you are not laid back. So how do you do that? By two things, by internal force and external force. The external forces are always very weak. So internal force, okay, that is your motivation. Okay. Always that the locus of control should be inside. The need to do that should come within. So from outside, how much ever pressure, okay, our tendency is to deny it. Okay, so the best way to break the procrastination is your inner force should be good enough. Your inner need should be strong enough. And finally, your motivation should be good enough. Okay.
Good. This is again another question that keep popping up. Is there any tips for us to stay happy during this pandemic? I think this question applies to every human being who is worried and concerned about what's going on around. What would be your a short suggestion and advice for people to stay happy and stay positive during these times?
Okay, wonderful. See, I mean, every question was really wonderful, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because it's a learning opportunity to me as well. See, not just during pandemics. That's the reason I'm telling you. First of all, why are we facing this pandemic? Why did this pandemic strike to the world? Because we thought that we could conquer everything. Okay, so we were overconfident with the technology. So keep that away, number one. Second thing is, see, the best way to handle not only COVID, to handle any kind of infection is boosting your immunity. Okay, how do you boost your immunity? See, well-established tract, okay, it is psychoneuroimmunology. So your mind, your nervous system, and then the immunity. There is a strong connection. This is a very vital tract. So if your immunity is strong, definitely you will be happy. I mean, if you are happy, then only immunity will be quite strong. So it's a kind of for and to and fro kind of a situation. Now, how to improve immunity? First and foremost is, please understand, the baby's life revolves around sleep, a good sleep. Okay, a small neonate, okay, 1 month-year-old baby, 1 month, 1 month child. Out of 24 hours, he will sleep around 80 to 20 hours. That means to say, sleep has got a lot of restorative function. Lot of hormonal activity tend to happen during our sleep. Because why I am telling this repeatedly is, according to the research, in India, less than 20% people sleep well, including people in the rural region. So unless, who will get a good sleep? A person who is satisfied. Okay, happiness is definitely transitory, it comes and goes. But a person who is satisfied that I have done my job, let me look for the next day. Okay, so sleep well, number one. Second thing is, eat sensibly, eat things that are edible. Okay, today we want everything fast food. Okay, so eat well and exercise. There is no point taking medicines to boost your immunity. It will not. That's what I kept on telling you. Don't depend on external factors. Depend on internal factors. So sleep well, eat well, do a lot of activity, physical activity, spend good time, enjoy solitude. Being alone is a punishment for a fool, luxury for a wise man. Please understand that. You should enjoy your own company. Then only you can introspect and correct yourself and then plan. So learn to enjoy your company, learn to enjoy your family, enjoy your society, accept things as they are. So finally, to tell you the ABC, appropriate behavior to the condition. Okay, that makes you happy. appropriate behavior to the condition. When it is afternoon 1, it's time to have lunch. That's the appropriate behavior. When it is 9:30 in the night, that's the time you need to go to the bed. Okay, a person who does the appropriate behavior to the condition will be happy.
Thank you, sir. I think that was a wonderful way to put it. Your ABC, appropriate behavior to condition. I think with this, we will bring this webinar to an end. I thank all the viewers for your wonderful participation. I find a lot more questions coming up, but unfortunately, we are not able to take all these questions. I have requested Dr. Ravish to be here for 1 hour. It's overshot by another half an hour. Maybe we'll come back with another topic probably related to this within a week or so. Thank you so much. And of course, the viewers are also asking where to put the feedback. We have not enabled that facility in the YouTube, but if somebody is very keen on sending a feedback, which I can share with Dr. Ravish, please send it to eps@excelindia.com, EPS, Excel Public School, @excelindia.com, EXCEL India.com. That's the school's email ID. I will be happy to forward it to Dr. Ravish. Thank you so much, Doctor, for spending your valuable time and sharing very, very powerful, very insightful, very enlightening thoughts. I'm sure this has been definitely a learning experience for all of us, the students, the parents, as well as the teachers. I find a lot of teachers also were part of this. I could also find that people have joined us as far as from Philippines. I believe they are in the education fraternity. So I thank all the people, all the parents, students, educators who have joined us in this webinar. We will be keeping more webinars in the coming days. I wish that we all stay safe and healthy. And we also wish that we are out of this pandemic situation sooner than later. Stay safe. As Doctor has already mentioned in the beginning, let us try to, give more attention to our behavioral vaccination so that we stay safe. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravish. Thank you very much for your time, your presence, and also your valuable inputs. Thanks, Mr. Prashant, the school's correspondent, for joining, the vice principal and all the teachers, and also the parent-student community, not only of Excel Public School, but from different parts of the world. Once again, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. See you soon.